Experimenting with Zip Zaps, waterproofing the electronics to drive underwater.
Here I got a modified Zip Zap Special Edition. What I've done is I've taken some plastic wrap and wrapped it around the board, and that's pretty much it, along with some tape to kind of hold it on and seal off the wiring as best I could. And now it's time to test it. But before I test the boards, the thing that's covering the board, I have to test the other components. They won't fry when I put the whole thing in, so I can figure this out. It's obviously too hard to waterproof all this. To do that, I'd need to take the whole thing apart. So I'm going to place my camera in the water.
I will now place the camera underwater.
Drop it in and see if it works.
It will take me a few seconds to get a hold of the car. Note that I will only test the bottom portion of the circuitry that is not on the main board to make sure that it can withstand the water. Here it comes. So there's no circuitry in the motors that need to be waterproofed or in the battery, so don't worry about those, but mainly worry about the main board. I had to remove it to charge the battery. It took me a while though. Now for the moment of truth. In a few moments you will see the vehicle actually go underwater and be able to be driven. Here it comes. So far it works. It can be driven underwater. Because of the density of the water, it pops some pretty cool wheelies. That's my favorite part about it. Unfortunately, I did not realize that it was popping wheelies from above the surface. So the board appears to be waterproof, except some water I think got inside at this point, because it was starting to get all choppy. But be sure to try this, and here's a few instructions coming up very shortly. After several minutes above the surface, it began to malfunction. If you experience any malfunctions while testing your design, remove the battery, the green cylinder in the bottom. Make sure it is easily accessible. You can pry it out using a flat-headed screwdriver. Make sure it is small enough to fit between the battery and the connectors. Be sure to give this experiment a try. Try to improve my design. When you do this, use several layers of plastic wrap and tape. Tightly wrap around wires and maybe even seal those areas with hot glue. 2 or 3 layers of plastic wrap is good. Note that I did not use hot glue, so give it a try if you think it'll help seal out the water around the edges of the plastic wrap. Make sure that you cover the headlights plug. Unfortunately, you will not be able to use them, at least in my design. Careful removing the board. If the board is moved around too much, the wires can break off their soldering points. If you were to use the headlights, you would need to wrap the plastic wrap around the wires because the connector itself is not waterproofed unless you sealed the area around the plug underneath the board or underneath the plug. When wrapping the plastic wrap around the board, be very careful with the wires as said a few seconds ago, and also be sure to allow the seal off all the wiring so that water can't seep in through those entries. And that's pretty much it. This video was made by NT86 Multimedia. Please visit www.computer86.com for more stuff.